Alrighty, I have not filmed a sit down video in a really long time, so this is very strange. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Y'all, it's been a while since I've been on my freaking channel because I've just been busy with life. Let me just tell y'all what's been going on. Life has been lifing to the extreme. I just completed my final semester in community college, so your girl's getting her AA, and then in the fall I'll be attending a 4-year to get my bachelor's. But I'm done, guys, so that means I can put out more content. I've been trying to do a couple little content on TikTok, and I made a bookstagram, so if you want to follow that, the link will be in the description below. So on my TikTok, if you hear noises, it's my kitten Willow. Mommy's filming. Thank you. But yeah, so yeah, I just want to talk about it and tell y'all about my journey as a reader. So I started reading around the end of last year. I read 5 books. And that kind of like got me into like, oh, that's what it's like. Like, I've never read smut before, so I never read like those type of books. I always read like YA books because, you know, at the time I was indeed a teenager. And now I've read so many books. I read 71 books this year. I'm on my 72nd, and yeah. But I figured I'll do my wrap up now because the year is coming to an end in like 3 days. What am I doing? But with that being said, so I'm new to the book community, but I've enjoyed every second of it. I love making content about books. I love making content in general, so making content about books is always fun. And yeah, are y'all ready for my top 23 of 23? Are y'all ready? Okay, so I just want to preference this. I've read so many amazing books this year, so it was really hard to dwindle it down to 23. That's why I have some honorable mentions. I'm going to mention some of my favorite characters, maybe some of my favorite boyfriends / hubbies, my favorite series, like all the good stuff, because it just needs to be told. It needs to be, these authors made some of these amazing characters, and I feel like I have to show appreciation to them because some of these characters in these books changed my life in such a way that I can't explain, because I just can't. I cannot. So I'm done rambling. But if you really want to know about my top 23 or 23, please stay watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, guys. We're trying to get to 400 subscribers in the next year. So let's make that a goal for 2024. 400 subscribers. We're at 313 right now. Can we get there? Can we get there? Okay. But yeah, with that being said, hey, my name's Leah. If you're new here, hello. I want to do more book content, and I do plan on doing more book content. Like I said, follow my TikTok, follow my Bookstagram, follow my main Instagram, follow my Twitter, follow my Goodreads, all that good stuff. Because why not? Let's be friends. Let's be book besties. I'm down for recommendations. One thing I do is I appreciate recommendations all the time because there's so many books in this world that I'm like, I need them all. So, you know, you understand. You understand, right? Okay. Well, let's get started. So, I want to preface to start this off. Most of the books that I've read are on my Kindle. So I don't have a lot of physical copies. Up until, I want to say, November, I was not a physical book girly. I never was. I have a book cart now. Her name is to be determined. I need to figure out a name for her. She kind of gives off Jessica vibes, but not in a bitchy way, you know? But, so this is my Kindle. Its name is Pimp Shrimp. So right now on my Kindle, I have all Hannah Cohen stickers. This one says, "You Gray, I'm Addicted to You," from Noah Hutton himself. This is Hutton 21, Cosmetics Hutton, which is, you'll know. And then this is Noah Hutton's logo as an artist. But this is my Kindle. Her name is Pimp Shrimp, and this is my girly. I told myself that when I read 40 books, when I get the goal of 40 books, I will treat myself to a Kindle. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm obsessed with her. I bring her everywhere. I'm an ebook girly, but I don't mind a little physical copy here and there, especially now because they're just so pretty. And yeah, so that's just the thing, because I don't have physical copies of most of these books. Like 90% of these books I don't have physical copies, so it's all on my Kindle. So I'm gonna put the picture right here because I left a little space for y'all. But yeah, that's all I want to put out. Also, I want to put this out, no, like a disclaimer, it does not matter how many books you read this year or in the years prior. As long as you feel like you're content, that's all that matters. Don't let anybody belittle you for how many books you read. I don't even care if you read a page of a book. That's all. I don't care. Good for you. That's great. If you read 5 books, if you read 10 books, if you read 600 books, if you read 500 books, good for you. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. You did it, girl. You did it. You did it. And that's all that matters. So can we leave that in 23 and 3? Actually, can we just leave that period? Stop judging people because of how many books they read. Don't make them feel little for reading less books. Some people have lives. I'm not saying that we don't have lives, but I'm saying some people have lives that hinder them from reading. We should be grateful that we had the opportunity to read, but we're not going to sit here and belittle people because they didn't read as many books as you think they should have read. Let's leave that there. Anyways, now, without further ado, let's get started on my list, starting with number 23. Some of these authors are repeated and will be mentioned a lot and will be talked about because I just enjoyed some of their work. I discovered so many new authors this year, so I will be giving them highest praise because they all deserve it. But there are so many authors that I will be sharing that I want to read more of their stuff also. So let me just preface that. So, starting with number 23, in no particular order are these books. I'm just sharing my favorites of this year. If I'm looking this way, it's because my iPad is right here and she's dead. So, here we go. I got to read Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. Now, I love Lauren Asher books. I read the Dreamland Billionaire series last year. I finished the first one and the second one. Obviously the third one didn't come out till this year. So yeah, I loved her series, the Dreamland Billionaire series. I am 2 books in of the Dirty Air series. I took a break from that series because I was in a little bit of a book slump. The second one just wasn't my favorite, so it caused me to kind of like put the series to the side. But I do want to read Wrecked and Redeemed. I'm excited for Santiago's story and I'm excited for Jax's story, so I do plan on reading that very, very soon. But back to Dreamland Billionaire, I love Lauren Asher's books. I love the men in her books. I love the women characters I love in the books. I love the setting. I love the home feeling. I just love it all. And I love the King brothers so bad. So when I finally got to read Cal's book, I was just like, yes. And then you kind of get a glimpse into this series, which is the Lake Wisteria Billionaire series. Only so far, the only ones out is the first one, Love Redesigned. And I'm just, that book made me so happy. I read it in November because it came out in November. And that book just gave me the feels in the best way. Julian Lopez, the man that you are. That man was created by the gods himself. Like, literally, every intricate detail was made by him. And Dahlia is such a bad girl. Like, she's that girl. Like, she's a bad bitch. I'm trying not to cuss. She's a bad bitch. And just, I appreciate her so much. And then they're rivals to lovers, kind of. Like, they grew up together. Their moms are best friends. So it's kind of intricate. They're going to be together. And it's just found family in a way. And small town. And rivals and forced proximity. And just... I love that book so much, y'all. There's a scene where he buys her this house that she mentioned when she was a little girl. And I just love them so much. So that's number 23. Next, we have By a Thread by Lucy Score. I am a big fan of Lucy Score's books. I read the Knock 'Em Out series. Loved her. Another, I think this is the next Lucy Score book that I read. I do want to read more of her work because I thoroughly enjoy her books. I love her Small Town series. I think it's just such a homey feeling, and it just makes my heart happy. Things We Never Got Over is literally one of my favorite books of all time. And so, yeah, getting to read some more of her work, I enjoyed it so much. I read By a Thread on my Kindle. I read it really early in the year, but this book talks about Dom and Allie, and he's a billionaire, grumpy, you know, they have a off-put interaction when they first meet. He was rude to her, she was rude to him, blah 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 blah, blah. And his he makes her lose her job. His mom is like, girl, come work for him. And so now they're forced to see each other every day because he's her boss. But y'all, the things that this man did for her, oh my god. Like, they're a couple that I see in the afterlife that will be together forever. Like, I just loved him so much. I just imagine him as a silver fox, and I just, Dom, what a man. What a man. I just loved him so much. So Body Threat was so good. Some of the tropes in that is workplace romance, billionaire, boss employee, opposites attract, rivals to lovers in forced proximity. I think there's an age gap. I do not remember word for word if there's an age gap, but I think there is. So yes, that's number 22. Number 21 is Echoes of You by Catherine Cowles. Now, I'm currently reading the Lost and Found series. This is my first ever Catherine read series, because she has a lot of series that I will be reading in 2024, but I started with this one, y'all. The trauma and joy that this book put me in is like unmatched. Like, the first one is Whispers of You. That is a best relationship, and then they were not enemies, we were like strangers, and then they got back together and it was like lovers again, and there was some suspense. Y'all, I wish y'all could. I'm gonna see if I can insert a clip of me reacting to that book and the suspense. I was in shambles. I literally was messaging Catherine like crazy, like, what is this? How dare you? What is this art you've written? Wow, I just it was just amazing. And then so Echoes of You is Nash and Maddie's book. Their best friends has always been her type thing, to lovers. There's also some suspense in that as well. Nash is just so loving, and you could tell that he just loved Maddie down, and it's just so good. And that, I just love a good found family. I love a good small town. When I'm telling you, y'all are gonna notice a pattern in these books. Small town is my thing. Like, I love it so much. I enjoy those books so much. So yeah, you're probably gonna hear a lot of small town, pound family, grumpy sunshine. Yep, that's for me. I think what I enjoy about small town so much is I'm a city girl, born and raised Baltimore. And so when I read a book that's the opposite of me, I'm like, wow, this is so nice. This is so nice, because I'm like so used to the busy life and everything. And I feel like small towns are just so homey, and I just enjoy that. So if you notice the pattern, that is why. Number 20, we have Her Shadows, His Secrets by C.C. Monroe. Y'all, this book, the characters in this book, the tension in this book was so good. Theo and Hannah, and she's a plus size girly. She moves to a small town where I think one of her grandparents were, because they left her the house and all this stuff because she was like financially stressed out and blah blah blah. And then what do you know, somebody in her family passes away, and they're like, you can have the house, blah blah blah. That's where she meets Theo. Theo has some secrets behind him. She gets along with his sister so well, and oh my gosh, it was so much. And there's a little bit of suspense. She has a stalker, y'all. And so yeah, I just love that book. It was so good. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and the smut. Anyways, I did. Next we have Heartless by Elsie Silver. Y'all, when I say the Chestnut Springs series as a whole changed me, I mean it with every being. I think I read that series back to back until Hopeless came out, and then Hopeless came out. No, actually I read it the first 3 back to back. Then Reckless came out, and then I had to wait, and then Hopeless came out, and I was like, that's one of my that was a top series for me this year. And Heartless, oh Katie, and I love you so. I love you so. This focuses on Cade and Willa. Cade is a grumpy single dad, and Willa is a outgoing, loud queen that she is, redhead, spiky, and she is his nanny. She's best friends with Summer. Summer is from the first book, Flawless, which I also enjoyed, and he's like no, she's not gonna be my nanny. Because their first encounter, she drops her underwear in front of him, and ever since then the man has been obsessed. And oh, and it's just so good. Of course, it's found family. Little Luke is literally one of the best kids in the book universe. He's so sweet. He has a moment where he's like, oh, are you gonna be my mom too? Or can you be my mom? And I'm just like, because one thing about it, if there's a single parent and they have a child, obviously, and you have the lover who claims the child. Are you serious? I'm gonna eat that up every single time, y'all. Every single time. I enjoy that so much. But Cade, first of all, I just want to say the Eatons is one of my favorite book families ever to exist. Harvey is literally one of the best dads there is. I love him so much. I deserve a book of him. So Elsie, if you're saying this, which you're probably not, please give us the story of Harvey that we need so bad. Sable Peak. Why do I keep clapping? Sable Peak is the last book of the Eden series by Eden and then Eden. They're back to back. Eden's is by Devney Perry. Devney Perry, I've loved her books so much this year. I've read the Eden series. And now you're like, girl, there's so much more. And I know. I will be reading some more of her books. I plan on reading Coach. I plan on reading Jameson. Like, I plan on reading so many of her books because I enjoy her. And I'm meeting her. And this is in, like, May. Most of these authors I might be meeting in May. And I'm so freaking excited. But the Edens are a series of a bunch of siblings that live in Montana. I need to go to Montana. I don't think you understand. I need to go to Montana. I need to go now. I need to go find me a cowboy, go to a small town, stumble upon him in a bar or something. He makes me, like, I hate him. I'm having a bad day. We meet. Maybe we're in a grocery store. He takes the last jar of pickles, and then we have beef, but then we, you know, do the things that lovers do type thing. Because why? But the Edens also are one of my favorite comfort families of the book verse. I love them so much. And this book focuses on Mateo, the youngest brother, and Vera. Oh, this book is a single dad, found family. I love them so much. I love them so much. Oh my God. She falls first, he falls harder. Bro, Vera, okay, so that's the last book of the series, meaning if you want to understand each of their stories, mainly Vera's, because her book is very important, tied to Crimson River, which is the fourth book of that series. It's very important that you read Crimson River before you read Sable Peak, because you will be very confused. You will be very confused. Also, Devney Perry, you will be getting my therapist bill, because that last line of the book, crazy. That's wild. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. That's all I'm gonna say. If you've read that last line, you understand. That I have on this list is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. That was one of the first books that I read around this year, like in the beginning of the year. That book took a turn that I just, you know, when you are in the car and you hit a pothole and then for the rest of the ride you're sitting in silence because you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, you don't know if music is appropriate for that moment. That's how I felt reading Love in Other Words when the thing that you know, if you read that book, you know. If you haven't, please read that book. It's one of the most beautiful books ever written, I swear to God. That book talks about Elliot and Macy, their best friends, turn to strangers, turn to lovers. And she moved to his small little town, and they always was like bonded and everything. She moved with her dad. Her mom, she just had lost her mom, so she moved in with her dad. Her and Elliot kind of bonded over books. Like, she was a book girly. And they kind of bond over books and all this stuff. And then something happens. They fall in love, obviously. They have a crush on each other, blah, blah, blah. Teenagers growing up, kids growing up, blah, blah. Something happens in her life that kind of causes her to just... And it was all a thing of miscommunication. But something happens that kind of, like, affects her deeply. As it should. Because if you read the book, then you know what happens. And they don't see each other again. And then they run into each other. And then they're learning to fall in love again. And it's just so beautiful. And I'm sure if I have pictures, I sobbed. because it was just such a beautifully written book. And there's this She Falls First, He Falls Harder. That is the one Michael Chubb that I will forever love with all my being, because I love a boy obsessed moment. I do. Slow burn, because it takes some time. One thing about a slow burn, it's gonna take some time, and that's okay, because I eat up a slow burn too. I love it. Anyway, next we have Things We Left Behind, which is another book by Lucy Score. That is the third book in the Knock 'Em Out series. I've been waiting for Lucian and Sloane's book since I read Things We Never Got Over, which I found out was being turned into a movie. You're telling me that one of my favorite books of all time is getting turned into a movie? I will never, and I mean never, shut up about that. I will never shut up about it. I hope they cast these characters so well, and if they don't, I will riot. That is a threat, not a promise. With that being said, Things We Left Behind focuses on Lucy and Sloane. You kind of get Lucy and Sloane in each book. You get it in Things We Left Behind. You get it in Things We Have From the Light. You get it in Things We Never Got Over. And as you can see, they kind of have a little rivalry, enemies type thing. Like, they do not like each other, so to say. But you can see deep down that Lucian cares about her. He does little things for her that she just doesn't know about, like funding her library. So much angst, and they do a little friends with benefits type thing. Obviously, they care about each other too much to even make that successful, and he's just so obsessed with her, and he's just not good with communication, communicating his feelings at all. She's just like, this is just hook up, knowing good and well she's not about that. And I just love them in this angsty. And I read this book in a car ride from Arizona to Vegas. 7-hour car ride. I read this whole book, and I had no regrets. I ate it up the amount of highlights. I just love Lucy Score's book so much. And Lucian Rollins. Wow, what a man. Up in the list, we have Ramian by Kayla Gross. I was introduced to Kayla's books, I think from TikTok. I think I started TikTok. I'm a plus size girly. I'm plump and round, and I love it. And Kayla is a plus size author as well, and her books are just written so well. I read 2 of her books this year. I read Like You Like That, and I read Ramian. I enjoyed Like You Like That so much. That is a bodyguard romance. I ate that book up too. But Ramian was definitely my favorite. This one is a cowboy romance, because Gavin Montgomery, the man that he is, I love him so much. And then we have Blake, who's that girl. She they have shared trauma. Oh, you know shared trauma. Boy obsessed. Oh, he was whipped the second he saw her. Their meet cute is so freaking cute, because she lost her brother. Her brother was best friends with Gavin, so they kind of shared that together. She comes back after being distant from the town for a really long time, which for valid reasons. She feels like she was responsible for her brother's death. And then they just bond over that. But they kind of have a weird McHugh, and just, he calls her baby. And listen, that's such a simple word, but I'm telling you, that changes so much. I think that's one of the most sweetest sweetheart nicknames ever. I just love it so much. And he calls her baby, and he let them down. And Cade, who's his brother, comes out. This book comes out, I want to say next year, and I'm so excited. Kayla, I'm so excited. But I love that book. Ramian, and the ending, it plays with your heartstrings in the best freaking way. I enjoyed that book a lot. So yeah, I don't know how far we're into the books on the list. So here we are. We have His Greatest Muse. I do have the physical copy of this, because I won the series giveaway. I won Hannah Cohen's backlist giveaway. When I tell y'all, this man, first of all, let me give a backstory. So, I discovered Hannah Cohen on TikTok. I was looking at plus size rep books, and Her Greatest Mistake, which I will be talking about, was one that popped up on my For You page. And I'll talk about that book specifically, but it's part of the same series with His Greatest Muse. This one is the last book of the series. Well, it's not the last book of the series, because I think 2 more are coming out, but it's the last book as of recently. And this one, This is the second generation, like this series is the second generation of the Parents, which is the Swift Half trilogy. I have not read that yet, but I will be. You best believe I will be. And I'm so excited. I love the Parents just from like these books, so I know that I'm going to love them in their story. But this book, I don't know, I keep putting it down. This book is Noah's story with Tinsley. You kind of get a glimpse of them in the first and second book, and they are always talked about. And they're best friends. Best friends. And there's best friends to lovers. He is a morally great man, and I love him. So I would protect Noah Hutton with my whole entire being. He don't take no shit. Especially when it comes to his girl. He's a rock star. She's a boxer. There's a stalker in this book. He's very morally gray. He's darker than gray. He's just so dark. And his forced proximity, I think there's a one bed moment. And just, he loves her so much that he can't even say the word, because he's like, that doesn't even describe how it feels about her. They love each other so much. Like, it's always been her type thing. And yeah, it's just talks about his journey as a rock star and getting them, and the tension between them it's thick. And she is a stalker, and he is not playing with that shit. So, Right Move by Liz Tomforde. I read 3 of Liz Tomforde books this year. I've read obviously the Windy City series, which consists of 3 books. Y'all, this series is one of the best series that I've ever read. I enjoyed this series so freaking much. This book, Right Move, talks about Ryan Shay, who is Stevie's brother, twin brother. Stevie and Xander are the first couple. Then we have Ryan and Indy. And then the third couple, we have Kai and Miller. This book, it focuses on Ryan and Indy. We have a best friend's brother. We have a sports romance. He's a basketball player. She's Stevie's best friend, who is also a flight attendant, who just got off of a whack relationship. And now she's forced to live with, not forced, but Ryan offered her home to him, to her, his home to her. And so, you know, there's some forced proximity because they're stuck to be together. Very much opposites attract. He's very organized, precise, all that good stuff. And then Indy's the complete opposite. She's a wild child. We love Indy so freaking much. And it's just, this book focuses on a lot of the little things. There's a scene in this book. Okay. There's a scene in this book where Indy's parents are deaf. I think her dad's deaf. I don't know if it's both her parents, but her dad's deaf. And Ryan learns sign language just so he can communicate with her dad. And I just love this book so much. All of these men were written by women, for sure, because Ryan Shay is unreal, and I just love him, and I love Stevie, and I love Xander, so getting to see them again, it was just perfect. Next, we have Hail Mary by Candy Steiner. This is the last book in the Red Zone Rival series, which is another series that I very much enjoyed this year. This one is the last book that's focused on Leo and Mary. Mary is a plus-size bad girl, tatted up galore, and she don't take no shit. And you have Leo, who's a football player who is neighbors with Mary, and they have a past. But one of these people in the relationship do not know about their past. They were pen pals, and they went to the same high school, and they were friends, but they never knew who each other was. And then the situation happens, and Mary's feelings is hurt by Leo, and so she hates him for life. She's like, I hate him, like, you know, that type of thing. And he doesn't know. And they're kind of forced to, he's like always flirting with her, and all of a sudden now that they're older, and she's like, no, I hate you, I don't want to be around you, blah, blah, blah. Eventually that changes because, you know, something happens at her home, and she's forced to live with the guys, Leo included, and, you know, that type of thing, forced proximity, you know, they're around each other, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, second chance for sure. I stay with that because I think I love them so much. I really do. A big miscommunication. He falls first, he falls harder. She falls first, he falls harder, type thing, because she liked him a lot when they were pen pals, but then he, you know, that type of thing. But I enjoyed this book. This is one of my favorite books of the series, along with Blindside, which is the second book with Clay and Gianna. Love them. Candy Steiners is another author that I really enjoyed her books, and I'm looking forward to reading more about her from her. I'm looking forward to reading Watch Your Mouth and Meet Your Match. I do want to read those books, so yeah. If Enemies Necessary by Lila Heron. This book, believe me when I say, truly, like truly changed the trajectory of life for me. This book, my friend Morgan got an arc of it, and then she told me about it, and immediately she's describing the plot, and I'm like, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. And that book was amazing. This book, I still think about the characters to this day, and I finished this book in like June or July-ish. This book focuses on Lexi West and Callum Rousseau. And Callum is like this big boss, mafia guy. He's a fixer. He has a very important job. He makes that money, big time billionaire. You have Lexi, who's a nurse who, after a traumatic event, just decided to take a little time off. You know, she's still a nurse, but she's like, I'm going to take a time off. And she starts house sitting. She house sits for this guy who turns out to be Callum. And, you know, he has all these rules and all this stuff and blah, 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 blah. He's a complete opposite of her. She's pink and fluffy and lovely. And he's like dark, mysterious, broody, all that good stuff. And he kind of has her become his like nurse because he means business. He's standing on big business. And she is like gentle, empathetic, very sweet, very sympathetic. And so he's like, you can patch up the people after I do what I have to do because I'm standing on business as always. And throughout that, he just falls in love with her and he becomes obsessed with her. He's so protective of her. It's so cute. I'm looking forward to more books from Lila. Actually, this was her first book, her debut novel. But I know her books are going to be so good in the future because she's an amazing author. I've Caught Up, which is also a part of the Windy City series. It is the last book as of now series of the series. This focuses on Kai and Miller. Miller is a carefree chef who decides to take a break because she was a little overwhelmed. And we have Kai, who's a single dad baseball player, and he needs a nanny because he has a tendency to keep firing on his nannies. Just it doesn't work for him, and that's fair because he's like, no one, not any, just I can't have it just anyone taking care of my son. So that's completely valid. And he meets Miller. Him and Miller have a little meet cute, and he's like no, but Miller happens to be his sports agent Monty's daughter, so he's like, I'll give it a chance. With that, Max, who's his little baby son, who's the cutest baby. Oh, love him down. Max falls in love with Miller, and then Kai falls in love with Miller. Miller falls in love with Kai, and it's just so freaking cute. Next, we have Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. This is the second Mariana Zapata book that I've read. The first one I read was All Roads Here. I read that last year because if I read Roads this year, you guys would know. You guys would know. Next, we have Tempt Our Fate by Kat Singleton. This book, I read that book in one setting. I read that book in a 9-hour train, and I ate it up so hard. Next, we have King of Country by C.W. Farnsworth. Y'all, I read that book very recently, and that book, I can't describe the love that I have for Kyle Spencer. That book was amazing. Like, it just was so freaking good. Next, we have, which I have the freaking copy, In the Weeds by B.K. Morrison. This book, when I read Love Life Farms, which is the first book of the Love Life Farms series, I immediately fell in love with this character, Beckett. I was like, oh my god, I love him. I love him and I love her, Evelyn. I love them. You know when you read a book and you're obsessed with the side characters that you're like, I need their book. I needed their book. Beckett's like a farm boy who like loves animals. He has a soft spot. He does so much for everyone around him. His love language is definitely just acts of kindness and gift giving and just service, acts of service, and just he's just the man. He loves Evie so freaking much, and I love them so freaking much. And Beckett's just, he's a grumpy boy, but he's not grumpy and mean. He's just you know, like he just communicates in grunts. And Beckett adopts a duck, and he names him Otis. No, because I was texting my friends while I was reading this book, and I was just in a blur of emotions. I was going through it. This book had me on highs and lows. I love this book so much. Reckless by Elsie Silver. This one is the 4th book of the Chestnut Spring series. This one talks about Theo and Winter. This book, when I say I am obsessed with Theo Silva in the best way, is probably unhealthy. I mean that with everything in me. Next, we have A Little Luck by Tia Louise. Tia Louise, I love her. I love her. She's immediately like one of my favorite artists that are authors that I've read this year. And this one is the 3rd book of the Be Still series, which is a series that I was introduced to from TikTok, which most of my recommendations are either from friends or TikTok. And yeah, like this book was just wild, like in the best way. We have the Stone brothers, so this is their series. We have Adam, Aiden, and Alex. Aiden and Alex are the first 2 books. I enjoyed those books so freaking much. It was so hard to not put them in this list because I was like, oh my god. But they'll be recognized and included. And then you have Adam, who's the youngest brother, who has his story with Piper. Piper is a single mom who had a past that, you know, she went through it, unfortunately, and her and Adam have been friends. Adam has always been in love with her and vice versa, but they always felt like it was just wrong because her former lover was Adam's best friend. And, you know, it talks about their story, and this is a big second chance. She's a single mom, so she has her baby. Adam's like, I'm gonna get it together, change for them, you know, be the father figure to him, and he does, and he steps it up, and it's just so good. And this book is spicy, and just, I love being in Eureka, South Carolina. Like, I love it so much, and just, I love the characters. I love all the Stone siblings, and I just love the women and the friendship. This book is so family oriented and friendship oriented that I loved it so much. I just love the series so freaking much. Tia, I love you as an author. I just love you. I cannot wait to meet you in Chicago. I'm so excited. So yeah, number 4 is also by Hannah Cohen. It's the first of the Greatest Love series, and this one is called Her Greatest Mistake. This book, honestly, I enjoyed the whole series. This one, Her Greatest Adventure, which is the second one. I love Cooper and Adeline so much. And then we have His Greatest Muse. This one talks about Braxton and Maddox. Maddox is a hockey player. Braxton is a veterinarian, yeah. And they were friends to enemies, distance, strangers to lovers. Not strangers because they knew about each other, but they didn't like each other. Well, and he was always obsessed with her. They loved each other so freaking much. And then something happens and they don't talk for like 8 years. Something happens with Maddox and Noah, who's in the last book, his little brother, and he needs a fake girlfriend. Who else to play his fake girlfriend other than Miss Braxton, because there's some issues with her family and Maddox and all that stuff. So it's a PR stunt. But he's like, I don't want to do this, because he knows the feelings that he has for her are so deep that he doesn't want to reciprocate that feeling. He doesn't want to bring it back up, but it does. And he just loves her so much. The words that this man says to her, I love him so much. He's a grumpy Ann, but I love him. Maddox, so much. We have Juniper Hill by Devney Perry, which is the second book of the Eden series, and it talks about Knox and Memphis. Memphis is a single mom who comes to Quincy, Montana, and she needs a place to stay, a job, and all that stuff. And the Edens offer their hotel and their house to her, and this house belongs to Knox Eden, who owns the restaurant in the town. He's one of the founding he's part of the founding family. and he's like a little grump, big guy, burly guy, and he falls in love with Memphis, and Memphis is the mom of little old Drake, and their family, their story is just so freaking good. Not think about it. I can't not think about Mine's Night Out. I can't not think about it. I can't. No matter how hard I try, I can't. The series is amazing. Him, Knox Eden, is amazing. I love him so much. I love him so. Oh my man, I love him so. Now we're down to the final two, guys. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Number 2, we have P.S. You're Intolerable by Julia Wolf. Now, I've recently read this book this month, and it's still in my brain, okay? Elliot, this book focuses on Elliot and Catherine. This book is the 3rd book of the Holiday Fall series by Julia Wolf. Elliot, that guy, I love him so much. He's hilarious, and he's so sarcastic, and he's a grump, and it's the best thing. And he doesn't take no like shit. And Catherine is his assistant. Catherine's plus size. Oh, I love a plus size representation. I will eat it up every single time. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you to authors who make plus size characters. We appreciate you beyond words. And yeah, so he's her assistant. They're polar opposites. And so she's pregnant. She got pregnant by her former friend. And she's working up until her pregnant. Like, she's working up till the baby's born. And Elliot kind of takes notice of that, and he just does little things. Elliot Levy's love language is definitely acts of service, because he literally noticed that her back was uncomfortable and bought chairs for the whole company just so that he didn't look odd for buying her one. And he sees her situation, and he goes to her house, and he's like, "You're living with me," so we get some forced proximity type thing. And her baby girl, baby Joe, we love her so much. And he basically is like, "Y'all are coming to live with me for as long as it takes." And with that, they fall in love, and he falls in love with their daughter. Their song is literally Little Bird by the Jonas Brothers. Joe and Elliot's song is Little Bird. If you ever heard that song, you know. If you haven't, you should. Number 1, journal, is Tame the Heart by Ava Hunter. I'll be surprised. Not really, because I talk about this book all the freaking time. Ever since I read it. This book, I saw it on my favorite page, and it wasn't out yet. And then when it finally came out, I read it the second that it came out, and it became 20% out. I was obsessed. This book focuses on Ruby and Charlie. Ruby is a woman who travels the world. She has a bucket list and everything because she has a chronic illness. And then she goes to Runaway, I don't think it's called Runaway Ranch in Montana, where she meets Charlie, who's this grumpy, trauma-filled, damaged cowboy who owns a ranch, Runaway Ranch, of course. And they kind of have this meet cute, and like he's like, "You don't belong here," this and that thing, because she's the polar opposite of him. She's like bright and sunshine. He calls her sunflower type thing, and she's like bright and lovely, and he's like, "You don't belong here." Eventually she shows him, "Hey, I do belong here," and they fall in love, and he's so protective over her. And he had some relationship trauma because he lost his fiance years prior, so he was like, "I will never love again," until he meets her. And then he loves again. Their story, I hold true in my heart. I would suggest this book to anybody. I got Morgan to read this book, and I'm forever grateful that she did, because she understands that this book was perfection in a book. Ava, when the second book comes out, you best believe I will be sad. You best believe I will be sad, because I love this book so much. It's one of my favorite books. I'm going to get the physical copy soon, because it's a must that I get this physical copy. But yeah. So there's my top 23 of 23, guys. Now I'm going to mention some honorable mentions that didn't make the list, but I still love the series and the books regardless. So we have When It Burns by Holly Lucky. Loved that book so freaking much. I'm so excited for Willa Hannah's book. Things We Have from the Light, which is the second book of the Lucy Score Dr. Mount series. The Cock Down the Block by Amy Edward. The second book comes out so soon. That one's NFL player, boy obsessed, plus size rep, small town, not small town, they live in Denver, but friends to lovers, you know, Blind Side by Candy Steiner, which is Clay and Gianna's book, and then Indigo Ridge by Daphne Perry, which is the first book of the Eden series. Those books I enjoyed so freaking much. It was so hard to not put them on my list. If I could do my top 100 of 100, I would. And they will be in it. I just enjoyed those books so freaking much. And don't worry, they are very much appreciated. And I will be looking forward to getting those physical copies of those books as well. Then I want to talk about my favorite series that I've read. I've talked about the Eden series by Daphne Perry and how much I enjoyed that series and that family. It just, being in Quincy, Montana just makes my heart very happy. Be Still by Tia Louise, which is the Stone Brothers series, the Little Twist, Little Luck, Little Taste. Loved Adam and Cassidy's book. Loved Britt and Aiden's book so much. Their books is like Found Family, Single Dad Nanny, Billionaire, Grumpy Sunshine, Forced Proximity, those type of things. And I just love them so much. And you get so much of them in A Little Luck with Adam and Piper. Chestnut Springs, love it, really, I love them. Bo, I love Jasper, I love Rhett and Cade and Willa and Summer and Winter and Sloan and just Bailey. I love them all. Harvey Eaton, I love you so. Windy City, I'm so excited for the 4th book to come out, and I'm so excited for Rio's book to come out. Rio is amazing for a side character, and I just know his book is going to be perfection because he's very, like, we all want his book so soon. Like, we want it now, Liz. We want it now. So, yeah. I'm so excited to read more books next year. I don't know what I'll make my goal. I'm just gonna go with the flow type thing. My goal this year was 40. Maybe I'll make it 50. You know, like I said, the goal doesn't really matter to anybody else but you. If you read a page, great. If you read 2 books, great. 50, great. 100, great. So yeah. I'm so excited. I'm going to Wild and Windy in May of next year, and I'm looking forward to trying to go to Phoenix. This is Wild and Windy next year, the year after next, 2025. There's so many authors that I want to read. I'm looking forward to just making more content for books, and I have like so many books on my TBR. Some Kennedy Ryan books. I want to read the Swift House trilogy, more Daphne Perry books, Butcher and Blackbird, Abby Jimenez books, Emily Henry. Who else? There's so many different authors that I do want to read. That my TBR is 200 books plus. So I promise you, and I'm just adding more and more. So do not worry if your favorite book wasn't listed. Trust me, I probably have heard of it, and I probably will freaking read it. But with that being said, thank you for watching my video. If you've watched it, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your favorite book of the year, or your top 5 books of the year. Thank you for sticking through this video. If you watch my content, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for another great year. I'm just blessed to be here and alive and breathing and just here doing what I want to do. And I'm so excited for this journey that this is going to take me on to. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing year. I hope you have a great year of books. I just hope you have a blessed year. Stay safe, stay healthy. Be happy if you can. If you can't, just know you're not alone, and I'm here. If you ever want to DM me, I'm open to DMs. My socials will be in the link below. And with that being said, have a happy new year, guys. Bye. Thanks for watching.